Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And my topic is actually to do with AI and the concept of AI replacing people in jobs. So, there are several ways to go about this. One is how can we use AI and work with it? Because AI is not like enemy, it's, it's just technology. But the second thing is what is the difference between AI making decisions and people making decisions? I want you to think about big organizations, and I want you to think about the working culture. Okay, so if you are in a working culture where you don't really know how does what you do connect with what others do. Okay, you're given an assignment, you don't really know what it means, you don't really know how it connects to other things, and you can say you very simply put, you hardly know what you do. Okay, it can be an administrative job, it could be downright a certain line of work where you're told to do something and you don't quite get it, and sometimes you're like, okay, I'll just do it way I'm told, and that's it. So you're not told to ask questions. You're not told. Your questions prompt very funny stories. Okay, that don't correspond with what you asked. Why am I doing what I'm doing? You're basically expected to get the money and shush. Okay, and this kind of jobs can easily be replaced with AI because you are an operating system in a machine learning. It's not impossible that you are not already run by AI. Okay, you're an operating system in a machine learning. So that enables for AI to replace you. Now this goes not just to your work. When you are in any interface, okay? Well, let's say we had it during COVID, okay? You need to put on a mask, okay? Fine. Why? What does it mean? Can I see for more information about this? The minute you begin to ask questions and you get answers that are like, no, these are the rules, okay? You know that you can easily be replaced by AI. So you try to look for places, cultures, people, they don't operate like this. So one thing is, that would navigate you to where am I not going to be replaced, okay, by AI. But this is also when it comes to your daily life. Obeying the rules, just like these are the rules, something that really allows for machine learning to take over, because you become a component that is easily controlled, and you are a part. You are the, let's say, the less effort computer has to describe you, the more easily replaceable you are by AI. Now, for your authentic self, is no reason to fear. There's no reason to fear, because when you authentically do what you enjoy doing in life, there's less reason to fear. You also come across solutions that are actually good for you. But when you maneuvered out of this by Pflicht, okay, by you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, this is exactly where you can be replaced by AI, because AI takes all the jobs that you have to do. Okay, it's easy. Think about, what do we take? We use iRobots. I don't have iRobot, but we use iRobots. Why? Because it's a job you have to do. You have to clean, right? Then that can be replaced. We use email for conversation that we just have to do. You have to do this conversation, okay? If you can write an email, that's better, right? So use an email. We use, if we have to, let's say, submit a form where it's not illegal to use ChatGPT, okay? We use ChatGPT. We have to do it, right? So if the more you are inclined to do things that you have to do, the more you are likely to be replaced by AI. Now, if you're the type of person that, some things you do, like, taking care of your teeth or something like that, but shower, but if you are more inclined to do what you want to do, and then you pay attention, this I want, this I don't want, that should be respected, okay? None of that should have an ultimatum where you suddenly will not have housing, suddenly will not have food. That doesn't make any sense, okay? It has no rationale. So it is actually exploring more of what you want to do and doing for what you want to do, because way before we had AI, we had society where people were inclined to do things that they have to do. You have to go to work every day. Not going to help you when you're not able to work because you're depressed, you are becoming sick, or they just resign you, okay? So you're no longer on the I want to do this. And then the people who try to program you to do something to make you think that you want to do it. We had this at work. You remember if you had this at work, the organizational culture. That's the thing. Now for the organization, they would love to have it with an AI. It brings the money. Where does it bring the money from? Okay? Even if I take a look, right now I learn another language. And I take a look at the videos and I see what videos are AI less interesting. Yeah, videos with person, more interesting. Videos where I see occult symbolism again, yeah. Okay, I know it's like, because it's like industrial. It's like machine, okay? Videos where I don't see that, oh, better, okay? A person, oh my God, a person. So we're gonna have a lot of people wanting to, think about COVID. If I think about myself before COVID, I worked with an international company that was selling online courses, and people were not so excited about this, but they were happy because of the content, and there was nothing in person that could replace that. And they were purchasing, and that allowed a woman to escape a violent husband. She was owner of the business and have online business and still make money and survive. Okay, and then there came COVID. So suddenly, even though there was crisis, a lot of people were going digital. But then the lockdowns, even I, okay, wanted to be in contact with people. I wanted to do peopling. Now, I'm not an antisocial person. I like people. I do need my space, okay? So, but the way that I was seeing how people wanted to go and see people in person. They want to go to workshops in person. Now imagine AI. People really love to see what is a person. Let's say you give a reading. I want to give it with a person. But if this person has all this occult symbolism and all that, you're like, yeah, I want a person. Even I was going to buy makeup, okay? Suddenly, makeup artist started sexual harass me. You saw the video about Rebecca. I'm like, next time, I'm not so inclined, right? So, but would I buy from artificial makeup or artificial company? No. Whereas, in the days where you have to go to work, you have to this, you have to that, then if I would go and I would see some machine selling me makeup, I would say, oh, lovely, I don't have to meet a person. Okay, so there is both the I don't have to meet a person, and there is the if everything is for this machine learning, okay, it's like, no, I want to meet a person. Okay, but I wanted that interaction to not be social engineered. So people are going to, I think there's a giant thirst, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you that. Even within people that grew up with these situations, when you say MK Ultra, okay, some of them would block you. Darren Hayes blocked me. Okay, they didn't want to hear about this. But later you see them in NG. Like, what are you going to do? Okay. But some of them, like, they can't answer you, but it's like, somebody talking about this. Are they going to do something? Are they going to do something? Okay. And this is, I think there's a thriving, growing market to have interactions that are not socially engineered. And when you look at, I'm Israeli, okay, our interactions, you see that it's like, I said, it's like a Ford. But the thing is, and I'm not bashing for the people because they're literally in Netherlands, they're cloned, okay? So it's not the fault of someone that they were tortured in the womb, tortured in the upbringing, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, that end, when somebody talks with you, when you have a conversation on the bus, and you see they try to get information on you, and you see like suddenly they act malefic. You're like, I'm speaking with a robot, a living, breathing robot, but people are going to want to have human interactions. And this is, in a way, it kind of brings people together, because in such situations, the differences between us matter less. It's just like, oh, human. Okay. And that's kind of, oh, a human being. Were you not used to that? I see even Elon Musk, that he's like greatest manufacturer of AI, but many times on this platform, it's like, I wish I know who is real and who is not here. Okay, it's like he created that, but he also feels that he wants to have a non-socially non-socially engineered interaction, where he's the one making these platforms that are social engineering, but even he wants out of it. Okay. So you want to think about a situation where whether it's the workplace or the environment is not engineered. And in the beginning, it looks like, oh, it's hard to find. But I think a lot of alternatives are going to come about where people are just looking to peopling. Okay? People just want to have contact with people. Do I have something on my teeth? I think I do. No, I don't. It looks like I do from here. I don't know. I think I do. I do. That was embarrassing. But you see, that is exactly what I'm talking about, because that's the type of stuff when you don't have a team and stuff of makeup artists around you, you could get caught with something in your teeth that you have to take away. With robots, you have another thing with robots. When you think about the AI, that they suddenly have 6 fingers in one hand. So people are going to be looking for people, but also when it comes to like money making, though I think a lot of people are now beginning to understand that the many ways in which they have been programmed. I know if you worked in sales in Israel, you saw the damfagri. Like for me, it's not it's the reason why will and consent matters to me so much. Because I had a dream of a different economy. And I also see that, to be honest, even when you give a patient placebo, okay, it's research, you give them, you say this is placebo, it's supposed to work on your consciousness and beliefs that this is going to work. It works better. So like when you tell the truth, it is actually, okay, better. but you have to have will and consent. Um, and so when you get that, I think a lot of people won't even understand what they are looking for in social interaction. It's peopling again. It's will and consent, because that's sovereignty. And so the people are looking for that. They're not going to know what is it. Where you allow, in Netherlands we say you're allowed to be who you are. What does that mean? Allowed to be who you are. Okay, especially in a country where everybody's supposed to obey the rules, and the rules are not always making sense. So I think a lot more people will start questioning many things that we just accepted, or we didn't hurdle around, we didn't make problems, we just let it slide. And we see how that was ushering us to a stage where a machine takes over. Okay, a machine takes over. So and then people think that we need to return to do for what we have to do. Well, I think we were more modificated out of doing what we want to do. You said you have to work. Okay, you have to work. You have to work is one thing. What is work? If I grow a half moon and the rain will fall, which right now isn't falling, by the way, and the rain will fall and something will grow there, then some of these crops I can eat, some of these crops animals can eat. I did with one simple, efficient task something that is good for entire ecosystem. And this is what you want to understand. Because when you're taught to do something insignificant that you put a lot of dedication to, think about reports. Reports on reports on reports on reports on reports. Okay? You have to find many reports. When do you get to do something valuable? And in that way, a machine can replace you. Because you say, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to. Could something else write the report for me? Not only it can also do your job. That's what the reports were for. So I think that there's a lot that we have been, as society, questioning, and the thriving to do something different, the understanding that we've been looking for something different, we've been looking for something authentic, we've been looking for something, for human interaction. And what is the human interaction? Because there have been a lot of work for human interaction to be inhumane. So it stands to being able to say yes, no, and maybe without having a campaign around you that prohibits you getting any sort of help or resistance. But it's also about people. Do we buy the flying monkeys? Okay? Do we buy the flying monkeys? And that is something that allows us to take a look at, was that work of that social engineering really engineering a society that is a joy to be around? For example, years ago, I went to a job interview about sales, and they asked us to market an opinion. It was not a debate class. And I was like, no, thank you. Now, when you think about agenda, social agenda, people love to have the ability to market the opinion. Okay, it's important, let's say, to understand that, I don't know, gay rights. Yes, it's important. These are people. and they have difficulties to rent houses and so on. It's important to understand the struggles of, let's say, people going out of jail and needing to rehabilitate. So the way that they would keep them in jail. The many things around that, it's important to understand. Now, well, how it's marketed is with social engineering, and what it does is that depends, that the activism is, is fiscal dependent, but it's also about what do we buy, and your how should I say it? When I was very young and I began to work, and what job you could do without experience is sales, and I saw that the way that the marketing goes, a lot of energy is invested on people buying products, where sometimes having that many clients would give you problems to your company. And that is, sometimes you can have a client that they're not for long, okay? But you have a happy client. That is a build-up that you have this happy client, that happy client, that happy client, that happy client. But when you have a situation where the product itself is not really, then the clients are not really either, right? It's about that. Now we think about the market and opinion. It's a good debate class, but how should I say it? It needs to be something that is actually doing benefic things. Both the marketing strategy, because right now you have marketing strategies that are binding people, okay? And you think that that's going to bring wealth. So there are many ways in which we have accepted something about wealth, something about a residence, something about the societal rules that allowed AI or machine learning to replace human beings. I mean, if you become more computerized, it's easier for the computer to replace you. And this is also meaning that instead of the AI growing to learn from humans, okay? It's like you grow a new form of life. Then what happens? The humans grow to be more computational. And it's, the interface between man and machine is something that is natural, but you have to make sure that your human life is joyous, okay? There are great things that technological advances can do for us. For example, machines that read thoughts that they can help you communicate with people that are speech impaired, or with your pets, to hear the sounds of the leaves of the crops that you grow. And those are lovely things. And essentially, we need to allow for human interaction to be human. That the one key factor is for whatever you're interacting to be able to say yes, no, or maybe, okay? And that is something that we all have to learn as society, because there's something that we've been trained out of. I had a conversation with a bank teller, And she said, what? I tell my daughter no many times. But she has to know. There's rules. Now, the more you... Now, if for something, it's true, if your daughter is going to jump into the road, it's like, no, 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 no. You come, you grab her. And you physically restrain her movements because she could be, ran by a car. That being said, the more flexibility for you allow for people to say yes, no, maybe, it requires a lot of flexibility, timing, schedule from us as people, the more you enjoy your life. First of all, it's more enjoyable because you have a human interaction, and in addition to that, you grow because first of all you have to be less worried. If it's a child, less worried because the child will know how to get itself in and out of troubles. That's if I think about Haimnut, that was kidnapped, and she's an Ethiopian girl, was kidnapped from a city called Sfat, from the center. She last seen entering the center that they have for the children, and that's it. Never before seen. A remote viewer say that she is still alive. And you think about her, she would never go anywhere without parents. Never do anything without parents. Always stick to parents. Always next to parent permission. That means she doesn't have the nervous system to be able to run away. She's always do as she's told. If you always do as you're told, then what happened? You cannot escape because your nervous system is not used to. Okay, if you're compliant, it's compliant with kidnapping, okay? If you do for the other thing, you're told to do that, you do for the other thing, then you also have to make sure you're not persistent in, it's not like a pattern, because you have to have leverage. It's like there's what the other says, there's what I say. And then just leverage, okay? Just saying, sometimes what the others say, they have reason. Sometimes and not so much. So we'll do what I want. Exactly in those societies, corporations, workplaces, we are not allowed to do so, is where AI can replace you. Now you think immediately what? The army. And indeed, there was suggestion to replace head of NATO, OTAN, by AI. Now you have to think, what is the antidote? Well, the antidote is for the army to become more sovereign. And so it will not be replaced by AI. And so if you are working in army, or even social engineering, you have to have a sovereignty to say yes, no, maybe. So not to be a part of an operating machine. I was working the other day in the garden, and there was a man that clearly he was put to stand to watch, not necessarily me, the neighborhood, like a watcher. And I don't know if he's waiting to pull drugs or what, I don't know. But I see him standing, and because I was the only thing around to look at, so he's looking at me. I was like, why are you looking at me? And then eventually another family member came, and they were like, what's this person? And I turn to this person, I say to him, you see, person who put you to stand like this, like a slave, and to look, they will not pay you. Why? I said, you see, I could not stand so many hours on my feet. My feet hurt. You do a job where you're not allowed to say yes, no, maybe. Okay? They will not pay you because these people that put people to do slavery, they're doing betrayal. And it's always about to get people to betray. It's just so. The more we are accepting of, even when people are jailed, okay? There are people that from jail, you had Martin Luther King, you had, I think Malcolm X would also, you had Nelson Mandela, you had people writing books, and then you have jail where people do forced labor, slavery. Something doesn't match with the stories, right? Right? So you think about all the places where you just have to do, you cannot say yes, no, maybe. If you cannot say yes, no, maybe, if you're doing forced labor, there would not be rehabilitation for people in jail. In Norwegian, if a person even murdered somebody, they learn new things, they adjust to society because they understand the person was not adjusted to society. But if you cannot say yes, no, maybe, according to you, and for that to be respected, then you're not working in a human organization. You're already beginning to be replaced by AI. So if you're a social engineer, if you are a watcher, if you are even thinking people that are now of a crime or something like this, you're being replaced by AI even there. It's a company. You think that let's take now it's a hot topic, pharmaceuticals. So there's pharmaceuticals and drug companies. Okay, so you think the pharmaceuticals are doing less murder? No, they don't. So if you're working for pharma organization, working very hard, you think that they are not optimizing you and replacing you with AI? Yes, they do. It's optimization. It's a company. And you think that they will not have betrayal? Of course they do. They have to work in interface with police, okay? And so when we think about AI, if you're bothered about your job being replaced by AI, and rightfully so. For example, I studied aromatherapy, okay? So you could think, an algorithm could ask you a couple of questions and then decide a blend for you, and it could be even doing good job, okay? Or astrology. Also, and you wouldn't even know. But first of all, also people make mistakes, right? And every job, a teacher can be replaced by AI. All these jobs can be replaced by AI. But who will consume? Okay, this is another, you need people, right? And if you're worried about your job being replaced by AI, it begins with the working environment where you're not allowed to say yes, no, maybe. So all of you people that were saying, the meeting went too far. Yes. But then what the next stage was is they're going to get authors replaced by AI. Okay? And so will and consent matters at the workplace, because otherwise you're like a machine. And if certain segments of the workplace is a machine, then they're trying for the next rank and the next rank and the next rank. With the NAVO, they began with the head of NAVO. Okay, not we can replace the soldiers by no, they set them boots on the ground to get killed. And kidnapped and tortured and killed and so on. And programmed this through. But they said for the head of NATO. We can replace the head of NATO with the AI. Okay? Now, how do you get a working environment where you're not replaced by AI? You make sure that the working culture is such that all people can say yes, no, maybe, according to their wishes on everything. If it is not so, you're already beginning to be replaced by AI. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. I know that during COVID there was the Great Resignation, and a lot of jobs, people don't want to work, they replaced them with the social engineers. So it's also important for these people, because programmed, okay, you can deprogram. There are many people, satanic ritual abuse survivors. You can find them online. For example, I did not know that there's something called Alice in Wonderland and Monarch programming. They torture people in the womb with a Jesuit order. This is testimony of people, okay? So they have split personality in the womb. They split the personality for the fetus. Okay? That's so fucking odd. So that is I remember I met people from Jesuit order. They were like, we're having a party and there is food and there is this, but you have to declare that you love Jesus. I adore Jesus. It's true. Okay. But you say, no other God but Jesus. I'm like, okay, have a good day. And yeah, I just lost of food there in the beginning. So, for example, when I went to Oranjekerk, so there was coffee and biscuit, okay? And you still put for, if you like, for to donate. Because you come to hear Sunday Mass, you come, of course, there's the problem of ritual abuse, but if you come for Sunday Mass, you come to meet people, okay? You go back to your home. But when they begin to lure you in, okay, then this is where when they place conditions where you can't say yes, no, maybe, there's nothing wrong with Jesus. Love Jesus, okay? But if I have only Jesus, darling, you tell me to date a man, I'm not sure I'm monogam. So to date a God, okay? If it was only Jesus, I would say, okay, then maybe the way you do Jesus is a bit problematic, okay? If I cannot listen to another, a view, another culture, another religion, something problematic, right? That is, if they tell you to keep secret. Now, let me tell you something. Most of the programmers, let's talk about programming. I live in Israel. It's a high-tech, tech startup nation. Most programmers, they will have resources where you have special search engines where you download codes, pre-made codes, and it's like for the community. Okay, so you download for these codes, and a lot of your programming is basically looping code after code after code. You have to make it. Editing work is important. Okay, as a person that did editing also in film, editing work is important. It's tedious. I'm not downgrading. It's the reason why programmers make so much money. But what do you think is such a secret? Okay? What do you think is such a big patent? Most of the program is downloaded from series of codes. It's comprised from a series of codes. What do you think you have to sign NDA for? Nothing. And there's also, if you cannot get a job without signing secrecy, it means that what you signed is that you never consented. Okay? That's what it means. It means that the contract is invalid. All NDAs invalid. Especially when people, like Jacob Wright says, were tortured to sign these things. So, back to the question, what do I do with this AI? What do you do with this AI? Well, begin to have working environment that is human, where people can say yes, no, maybe, according for what is fit to them. Okay? When people understand what they are doing, how does that relate to what the company is doing? Can ask questions. Okay? Now, you're assigned to this tiny mission, you don't know how it correlates. You're supposed to work on this report, you write on this report. It looks very easy, you don't have to think too much. AI can replace that. Oh, but what about the people that can't think? Let's talk about people. Neurodivergent or autistic spectrum? Well, we have technology that we can communicate with their thoughts. So we can use this technology and see if do they really can think, or maybe they have a lot to say to us if they are speaking, okay? A lot of these people are born into very controlling environments. By the way, not all cases. If you have autistic spectrum, it doesn't mean that your family is controlling, but you should look at your country. You should look at your city. You should look at the region, okay? You should look at what problems it creates, let's say on public transport. What problems this creates. Maybe there are things done from afar. Okay, if you gave birth to the child and you didn't see the child, what happened? Okay, there's questions that are important to ask worldwide. More things about AI. Yes, it begins like a code structure. Code structure and AI structures are so similar, because with code, there's a certain sort of patterning that's designed to control the outcome. What do we make machine for? We control for the input and the output. We say the machine is reliable when I have this input and I know that I get this output. Okay, I put in 1 + 1, I expect to get it equals 2. It's a computational system. That being said, for us as well, okay, if I want to move the right hand, I expect to get for the computational reaction. That being said, we need that level of determinism, but we also need to be able to say yes, no, maybe. And for that yes, no, maybe to be very powerful or very strong, and to be able to withdraw consent, and to be able to understand what we're doing. Okay? That way, you cannot be replaced by AI. You cannot be replaced by AI if your working environment is not initially robotic. Now, for many of us, you start business yourself. You start business yourself. How is the interface with the state? Before, during COVID, I wrote maybe all of the ministers in the government regarding for my business, because I was trying to go for my business, whether it's assistance, or whether it is communication, or whether it's with the marketing, or whether it's something that what assistance, what rights do I have from the state? Not a single email answered. Okay? Way before the war. Until today, not a single email answered. Years before, I would write something to some minister, I would get an answer. Okay? This is, you can turn to here and here. Sometimes it will be more helpful, sometimes not so helpful. But then it would be nada. Nobody. Absolutely none of the all entire ministries. Nada. Okay? I'm talking about Israel. I don't know what it was for Netherlands. It's different, but yes. Netherlands, we had another problem. Okay, the 1100. The 1100 was not Rutte, it was entire Tweede Kamer, opposition and the coalition. Because otherwise you do impeachment, and you do, but for example, in France, just a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I think, the government fell. Why did it not fall when the 1100 were kidnapped in Netherlands? Or for satanic ritual abuse? Okay? The questions that people need to ask themselves. Now, you cannot be replaced by AI when your sovereignty, ability to say yes, no, maybe, is respected. Of course, there's programming. There is attempts to gaslight. There is a this, there is a that. If saying no to your psychologist has implications that you do a smear campaign because you went out of a therapy that was inversion of therapy. They tried to MK Ultra you in therapy, and they have a smear campaign. You can't get a job, you can't get this, you can't get that, until you find a housing in somebody who works for human trafficking or something. And they would always put what one family is okay, one family is this, but also for the families that are okay. What are you accepting about your working culture that you could be replaced by AI? Psychologists can easily be replaced by AI. My psychologist, Tita Myron, can easily be replaced by AI because he's a programmer. That's it. It's an interface algorithm. Very easy. It is simply put. If you offer even emotional experience, okay? You understand? But the thing is that those emotional experiences are computed. If you get that interface with a human and AI, they're replaced by AI. So a lot of people go, oh, what cannot be replaced by AI? Oh, the emotional. Yes, but if you do trauma bond, then person would be having more trust with the robot, right? Well, because they dissociate. It's terrible because we're not supposed to not feel, but we're also supposed to be safe, invulnerable, right? What happens when your therapist does not accept him for this? He tries to betray, to perpetuate the trauma, then he can be replaced by AI. This is exactly how this goes. If you see psychiatrists and they say, put this pill, all the pills are the same. Then take this pill, but all the pills are the same. Then take this pill, all the pills are the same. A yoga teacher comes and teach me something and I'm able to do something, it's this and that. So you talk to this psychiatrist and say, okay, you know what, I stay here, I will do this yoga thingy because I see the pills is not good for me. I cannot hold you here without you taking the pill. They don't need a psychiatrist for that. It can be replaced by AI. Okay? I don't need a psychiatrist to say, well, take this pill. You're excited, you're talking about, you okay? You just came away from trauma. Oh, they have a rapid speech. Yes, they experience violence. They have an AI could do the job better. They switch from subject to subject to subject to subject. Yes, they are currently interconnecting the way that the many different facets of the things that they experience compound to what they are experiencing right now. It's called processing. The speech is disorganized. That normally is when a person is just beginning to get what is happening to them. Oh, the speech is flat. Also, you would come with numb if you would talk to you for 3 seconds. Okay? That can be replaced by AI. You read a tarot, okay? Suddenly tarot starts to talk to you about weird sexual things that have nothing to do with the reading or with their character. Same thing is completely not related. Like, am I speaking with a human being or with a robot? And you know, this person was tortured. They need to get out of violence. People forced to do certain signs with their fingers, hand gestures. Okay? And this is done so that all the people will be replaced by AI. Even aromatherapy oils company, I saw an email, but I ordered the toothpaste, it didn't arrive because I was not able to get it because there was a problem with the human trafficking that was going on that tried to do in my apartment, right? And so I see for the advertisement and email event, subscribe to their list again for this peace sign, which is part of the gold sign. They are already being replaced by AI. I see Grant company called Sabon have a lot of nice, great products. Many butterflies. Now, butterfly is a lovely symbol, but it's also monarch. And I try to insinuate for the ladies as who made the design, because people are going to associate it with that. It's going to be problematic for the branding. She wasn't so willing to listen. But you see that company can be easily replaced by AI. Nikes, they took down the head of Nikes. Now it's not that there weren't problems with Nikes along the years, but it wasn't that there weren't a lot of problems with all shoe companies and all companies along the years. Slavery was not just a Nike problem, right? Child labor, not just a shoe problem. Also, your masks were not in the most sanitary problem. Okay? Just to say. But then they took down for the one who founded the company, the head of the company, and they started digital marketing, and everything is Nike. Greenpeace, Nike. It was like, okay, that's nice. But it's kind of like they replaced the company with an AI. So now everything is replaced by AI. Now, you don't have to go to the deep things, because it begins with the little things. Of course, I'm going to talk about true crime. Right now, just today, there was another child kidnapped from Bnei Brak 5 days ago. Kidnapped 5 days ago. All of those satellites that take photos of ladies in bikini in the summer, in their own porch, okay? Don't know where the child is? We really don't know where the child is? We couldn't run an AI and see where the child is? You better bet they know where the child is. But we don't even have to get there. Because that means that the police is going to be replaced by AI. If you talk to a person from the police, okay? I once was in a situation, my mother was looking for me, then 2 police people come, and I go with them, we meet my mom. And they say to me, at least I would notify my parents that I'm not coming back. Not to look for me. I'm like, but I am coming back. Or if I'm coming back. But I would notify not to look for me. Well, your job is to look for me. I tell you what I ran away from. Human trafficking to do with real estate. Okay. Want to speak with the mom? Sign. Bye-bye. You can be replaced by AI. What will happen with police officers when they are replaced by AI? With the psychiatrist when they are replaced by AI? With the psychologist when they are replaced by AI? If somebody has to dissociate from the emotional experience you give them because you constantly betray them, and give them trauma bond, unfortunately, the road will be replaced by AI. Our food system, currently replaced by AI. There are supermarkets where you go and there's no people. Now, it starts not from the true crime, but it starts from our culture, are you accepting of the... I had to explain a woman that worked at the a super farm, okay? Where you buy some stuff like, sanitary pads or stuff like that. And I had to explain to her. I said, for you, I want to pay to you. I want to pay for you. It is your job. I want to pay to you. No, go there for the machine. Because she doesn't want to do this job either. Okay? But the thing is, that is how you get replaced by AI. Now, it begins with turning the jobs monotonous. For example, in the welfare in Israel, not the welfare, but the Bituach Leumi is basically where they decide which person gets welfare or security or not. And they began to replace people to do different jobs because they began to be bored with the same job. So now when you did this job and then that job and then that job, now you understand the connection between them. That makes, a little more sense. But you also want to make sure there's no conflict of interest. Okay, like if the person decides which children to kidnap, also treats the children, the grown, if they, God forbid, run away, and the children in the center, then this is a problem, okay? But this is exactly what the point. How did shelters become a safe space for people who run away from violence? The violence trauma is to be jailed, is to be kidnapped. A person that live that they have claustrophobia and agoraphobia. How is jailing them assist in anything? Same with hospitalization, because if they ran away from violence, right, it's not the place for them. Now, those questions you need to ask yourself, because that way, entire thing will be replaced with AI, and you will be compliant because you already got used to, you have to work. Yeah, I literally had a woman that told me, I move according to the requirements. During work, I move according to the requirements of the workplace. I don't think there's enough blinks that I can do that can make this sound reasonable. No, you don't lose your sovereignty in the workplace. Never. Not at school either. This is how people be replaced by AI. This is where your money is getting to. To tackle the AI problem, because you can do great things with AI, but to tackle the AI problem, you need to tackle the many decades that you be grown into accepting things that are inhumane, and then you're like, oh my God, they will take my profession as well and replace it by AI. Yeah, they would. But before they did, there were many, many things that you allowed to happen. Okay? And it's not about blame. It's about, if we are aware now, then we can create leverage, we can change more. And in fact, it is the time in society that we do change more. And we begin to ask ourselves questions. Years ago, I was in university, and on Facebook there was a group of libertarian people. Now, my funding for university was from the welfare. So I was like, what do these people think? And I said, well, I don't want a business that will computate the budget for me. They wait the budget for the papers and the this and the that, and I'm the worst budget for. Okay, because it costs the most money. So economy must have another component other than economy. But they were talking about something funny, where they were right. What is Moetzet Advash? Okay, it's the municipal funding of the honey. To make sure that the honey is regulated. Now, if you buy from a farm where they make the honey, they're in touch with the honey, and you buy from them, you don't have this problem, right? You don't, okay? You don't have this problem. That's when it becomes industrial. It's when the farm needs to pay property tax to sustain itself, when it becomes a problem. Okay? And so, in that way, the libertarians were correct. Okay, what the honey? And you only have this problem. We had this problem with olive oil before 7th October. No olive oil, no olive oil, no olive oil. Okay? Then I remember when I bought olive oil from a Druzy woman, it's almost the same price. 50 shekels, I think, is even cheaper. And she makes it, it's a real olive oil. Okay? I made myself a salve. Oh my God. This is a real olive oil. You know, they did it in their own village. Okay? That's lovely to buy like that. But you have to be allowed to grow things. If people don't even think about it. When did it become okay for a person to work and be homeless? I'm not talking about expats that lives in an Airbnb, and whatever. When did it become okay? When did it become okay for people to not have a house, not have a living situation that's good for them? People can just say, I want to live in a tent for a while. That many people have. They want to travel, they want to this, okay. They don't want to take care of, to clean, to this, to that, that's fine. But when did it become okay for a person to not be in any housing that is safe for them? Because safe is compatible with claustrophobia and the agoraphobia, because the violence is creating trauma of claustrophobia and agoraphobia. So it can't be too close, and it's not for too crowded. When did it become okay? And then many things are replaced by AI. And then when everybody replaced by AI, and now they don't have a job, now people are worried. What will I do with my income? Where were you when you were going for taking your son or daughter to a psychologist to say they need to see psychiatrists so that we will work together? You go to psychiatrist and take this pill. They try to kill themselves. What happened? Or maybe it's from the pills, but watch them next time closely. What do you mean it's from the pill? Well, they were already suicidal. That just, the side effect, it can increase that. It's not holistic medicine that becomes worse before it becomes better. Then you had it with the SSRIs, that slided. You had it with the mood stabilizers, that slided. You had it with the beta blockers, that slided. Now you don't know where you're going to work. Well, there is always a psychiatrist that's going to take this pill, but I'm feeling something horrible. It's not from the pill. But if you want, we can try something else. What is it? Test this pill. What they all do, they're all beta blockers. Different generic. Does that work? I don't know, we can try that pill. It kind of looks like a computer. Isn't it? What about a house? Why are you depressed? You had lost your house. What about housing? So now entire society is being put in those situations. And it's for years and years and years that, first of all, we didn't think about those directions. Always put it to the side. If you say, I'll manage, put it to the side. And the more you were able to manage, to leverage, the more you put it to the side and like, okay, I manage. But then it becomes less manageable. Okay? And for example, if you do, so workplaces, so nobody's willing to change. Everybody's okay with lying to people. Some of them were single mothers, and that was more difficult. For some of them, young people. young people. Oh, women came to a job, they come to work. Okay, they don't make it that much money. The husband brings the money, they bring some groceries. You make 4,000, the equivalent of 4,000 oil was $4,000. You bring it just to groceries. Wake up. You should have be able to support you and the children in case something happens to the husband or he takes a vacation. Why not? Because he's going to get sick like this if he's working all day and only he brings the money. He's going to get sick. Nobody wants to listen. Okay, then eventually the day say I will go to study, but you have to be cuckoo. Okay, then I'm cuckoo. Okay, then you can study. Now they try to recruit you. You're very intelligent. Did you know you're very intelligent? I have the same grades as any other person. Not everybody gets a social worker, why not? Everybody deserves to study. You say that this is the rights. Why do you deprive people for their rights? Okay, but you don't. Because you say to then you go to the people. It's like, did you know that you have to, like, you can get a studies for this. I had a friend that got a funding for studies where he saw he had disability but didn't fund his studies. So he had to file for that. He didn't know his rights. He may have an apartment right now is in my right. Okay? And this is true. But then when you know that for your family had an apartment, but they had to sell the apartment, okay, because they were a single mom with a single child, and they needed to live very safe, so they had to sell the apartment. The interest levels changed and then diminish. And then you think about for to buy an apartment, you need to buy in an area where it's safe for you. And a person alone cannot change for the entire living situation. Right? Because if you have an apartment, you buy an apartment, you don't have a job, then you're going to be recruited to something. That's the thing. But then they will say, but you could have an apartment. Here, you see, here you could have apartment. When did it become okay that people evacuated from apartment when under any circumstances? Years ago, I saw a post on Facebook of someone who said, I am homeless, I am this, I am that. And when people discovered she lived in a rented apartment, they were like, what? She doesn't know. She's an older lady. In her days, homeless meant you don't have apartment that you own. Okay? If we are working like a computer, even there was a social engineer. He tried to get information on me, but he was a social engineer. He said something right. There was a pregnant lady. It was standing in line for the bank. Had to have a meeting with your money. It was a pregnant lady. And he says in the past, people would be partying like at the red carpet. Come. Now, nobody pays attention. Like robots. Then, of course, all of these robots can be replaced by AI. And what happens with the people? What is happening with the homeless people in Oregon, in USA? Deaths and concentration camps. Violation of the First Amendment for those who try to cover this. Astrologers cannot talk about this if they are Americans. I only saw it when they confronted astrologers online. So she said, why don't you talk about this? And they didn't answer her. And it's not people that don't care about the well-being of people. Then people say, the people don't want to work. It's like, that can be replaced by AI. Okay? This is how people are replaced by AI. When people become machine, then they're replaced by machine. It begins with, well, you have to work. Did you believe me when I told you that I was harassed? Did you believe me when I told you that I cannot stand in the Templar order at school, at the public school, for an hour over nothing? This person, they making excuses. They don't want to. Really? That doesn't look like a scientific paradigm of either a medical condition or managing a team or psychology. Your imagining is not a scientific term. They're pretending to is not a scientific term. If they're pretending to, what happens? Were they kidnapped by the government and tortured to be pretending to? Are they not allowed to say yes, no, and maybe because it will have repercussions? Well, what is it that they want? Maybe they need to rest and they feel like they cannot express it anymore. Maybe they see for what is done here as hoax but think nobody will believe them. When Anneke Lucas was asked by a very bullying, by the way, interviewer, so I'm not going to say where, but she was asked for the names of the living people that were still alive, that were torturing her. She was an expendable child and was trafficked, and then her handler that was also abuser got her out of that ring. So you see the intricacies here. She said, if I talk, who will believe me? If I say name, who will believe me? Everybody wants to hear names, but when you get them, you say, oh, she's just looking for attention whore. She's just looking for, okay, for to try, they fantasize about connection with that person. But everybody wants to know. Well, I'll tell you structurally. These people are grown there, tortured in the womb, they're tortured out of the womb, they grow in death camps, and what they divided, for some are the politicians, some are the trafficked children, some are the influencers, some are the media, and these are all interfaces. They all work together, but they work together in like a machine. So the person doesn't know. Atomic veterans, not atomic people for the CIA. There's a testimonial of a person from the CIA. They don't know when they press a button if it's going to be a bomb dropping or nothing, or just a drill. So they're just used to. That's it. That can be replaced by AI easy. It already is AI. What you're worried about, you need to think about all these things. And now, how do we create human society where you can say yes, no, maybe, where you understand what you're doing? Now, sometimes not to exactly get what you are doing can give you great courage to do something. And I have to admit, this is also true. Okay? But at the same time, you want to be able to understand what is the implication of the actions that you're taking, to be informed. And when we leave it out, when we leave so many things out for the equation, then it becomes AI, and the people are not needed. They don't need a giant economy to accommodate for a small population. And AI can do blessings. I'll sneeze on it, that's true. But this is a time for humanity to begin to respect the yes, no, maybe of the people around them and create structures that are compatible for not claustrophobic, not too closed, not agoraphobic, not too crowded. And in that society, then perhaps we can be ushered to golden ages.